Question. DS. A worker produces bolts at a constant rate. How many hours does it take him to produce 400 bolts? Condition 1. It takes him 40 minutes to produce 100 bolts. Condition 2. It takes him 2 minutes to produce 5 bolts. Solution. Now we will solve this DS question using the variable approach. DS, 2 variables and 1 equation. Question. Condition 1, 1 equation. Condition 2, 1 equation. DS question with 2 variables and 1 equation. Let the original condition in a DS question contain 2 variables and 1 equation. Now 2 variables and 1 equation would generally require 1 more equation to allow solving for the value of the variables. We know that each condition would usually give us an equation, and since we need 1 equation to match the number of variables and equations in the original condition, the equal number of equations and variables should logically lead to answer D. Let's apply the 3 steps suggested previously. Follow the first step of the variable approach by modifying and rechecking the original condition and the question. We have to find the number of hours it takes a person to produce 400 bolts. Let the work rate and the time taken be R and T. So R times T equals 400. Follow the second and third steps. From the original condition, we have 2 variables, R and T, and 1 equation, R times T equals 400. To match the number of variables with the number of equations, we need 1 more equation. Since conditions 1 and 2 will provide 1 equation each, D would most likely be the answer. Recall 3 principles and choose D as the most likely answer. Let's take a look at each condition. Condition 1 tells us that it takes him 40 minutes to produce 100 bolts. That is, R times T equals 100, or R times 40 equals 100. Or R equals 100 over 40, which equals 2.5. Substituting R equals 2.5 in the original condition, R times T equals 400, we get 2.5 times T equals 400. That is, T equals 400 over 2.5 equals 160. Since it is a unique answer, this condition is sufficient. Condition 2 tells us that it takes him 2 minutes to produce 5 bolts. That is, R times T equals 5, or R times 2 equals 5, or R equals 5 over 2 equals 2.5. Substituting R equals 2.5 in the original condition, R times T equals 400, we get 2.5 times T equals 400. That is, T equals 400 over 2.5 equals 160. Since it is a unique answer, this condition is sufficient. Each condition alone is sufficient. So D is the correct answer. Answer D.